I was disappointed in it for a few reasons. Obviously, I was involved in the Semenya defense case at CAS as testifying as a sort of independent consultant witness. So we put together what we thought was a case that argued quite well that the scientific evidence on which the case rests, the policy rests, was flawed. And I come at this obviously as a physiologist and as a scientist. So for me, that argument was very strong, and I felt would be sufficient to overturn it. Ultimately, I appreciate the complexity of the issue. I think that the IAAF have some very strong conceptual and theoretical arguments, but I thought that the evidence was not strong enough to support a policy that has, to be frank, fairly far-reaching consequences. On the evidence, going back even a year before the court case, I worked together with an American scientist and a Norwegian researcher to critique and evaluate the main study that the IAAF had put forward in support of its regulation. So people may now be aware that the regulation applies to only certain events, and that's because their evidence suggested that only those events benefited from testosterone. So that study is really important in interpreting this regulation. What we found was that there were a number of data errors in that paper, to the point that we felt that the data couldn't be trusted. We were very skeptical about some of the methods used to collect the data in the paper and also how it was analyzed statistically. And in the end, it became, to us, such a concerning problem that we actually insisted that the paper be retracted from submission, because we felt that it was of inferior quality to even be published in a scientific journal. So without going into every single minute detail, I think the issues were trustworthiness of the data, the integrity of that data, the methods that were used to collect it. And that combination of things means that you're on pretty shaky ground when you start to create governance and policy based on science that might not be replicatable in the future. So that goes to the heart of how do you use science to dictate policy. And I just didn't think that it was being done well there.